Is Ronnie O'Sullivan available on loan? We might be near the crucible, because I tell you what, we need flaming snookers.
Lads, lads, lads.
So following a narrow but dominant display against Bristol City last week, the Blaze headed to London to face a strong West Ham side challenging for the European places this season. Past meetings with West Ham have been fairly tight as well, so it's going to be a stern test for us today. It seems when it rains, it pours for us at the moment, as just as we start to get a bit of momentum going, teams around us are just pulling rabbits out of hats and picking up points. A couple of changes for the Blades, Stevens and Osborne coming in, Fleck missing out through an illness, sadly, as he's been a very good at late and one of our best players. And Sharp and Didsey were leading the line once again. Started off really badly, we got off the hook, Stevens conceding a soft penalty with a silly challenge. The play was going absolutely nowhere, there was no need. But VAR overturned it due to an offside in the build-up, so got very lucky there, Blades. And then a couple of minutes later, Didsey had a decent opportunity. A nice ball whipped into him and it was just in front of him and he tried to hook it back. It seemed to be a very familiar turn of events in this half, Blades. A lot of good possession. We had the most of the possession, good pass to play, but it was the final ball just lacking. And it's clear to see what we need in the summer. We need someone creative, someone who's going to create more chances and someone who is going to get us the goals if we want to make a go of it next season. Ramsdale made several very good saves this half for me. Was hung out to dry a few times. They were storming through and he made a few good saves, pushing them wide. And then Osborne had a chance, I think, on 35 minutes, pushed away by Fabianski. Probably going wide anyway, but we got a corner out of it, which I guess we can all guess what happened. And then no more than 4 minutes later, they got another penalty. An absolutely terrible ball by Ollie Norwood. A ball that footballing beginners would have been embarrassed of, quite frankly. It was just a needless ball, playing ourselves into trouble again. Seems to be a familiar pattern growing, and Lingard was through, and Basham really had a bit of a rush of blood, was never going to win that ball, and he conceded another penalty, which Rice dispatched with ease. Starting to understand why Norwood hasn't really been given a proper crack at Premier League football, really, because it just seems to be consistently happening for us. And I feel like, as good as he is in the Championship, if we have the ambition of being back in the Prem in the future, he can't be a part of that for me. We need someone stronger in possession and someone who makes better decisions. So yeah, it was a fairly all right half. We had a lot of possession. We created a few chances, but nothing really good. And it was just disappointing and a shame that it ended the way it did. But fingers crossed for a better second half, guys.
1-0 down at the break. It came out for the second half, hoping to mount a second half comeback. No changes from Chris Wilder. Somehow Oliver Norwood still on the pitch. How, that is beyond me. We began the second half with renewed hope that we may be able to produce something, get back into the game. Were we unlucky to be 1-0 down? The one thing that was certain is we were lucky to have nil, because yet again, awful in front of goal. And we tried to get in the game. McGoldrick had a header which was sort of over the bar, but then corner given away and crossing, free header number 11 conceded for the season. Ampadu nowhere near it, Diop making it 2-0. Then the change did come. Oliver Norwood withdrawn on 62 minutes, round about 62 minutes too late in my eyes. I'm not getting at one player, but he's cost us so much this season. Tried to get into the game again. Billy Sharp had nothing, and absolutely nothing to go out up front all day. Bogle wasn't in the game. At 2-0, it was just comfortable. For the Blades, it was messy, and for West Ham, it was Jesse. Jesse Lingard absolutely running the show for West Ham. We just did not know what to do with him. This is a player that apparently wouldn't fit our system, according to some of our fans. Okay, wages may have had a part to play in that as well, but we look clueless, absolutely clueless. The only chances really were headers from McGoldrick, which he didn't really do much with. McBurney did nothing when he came on. No Pace brought on, no Burke brought on, no Brewster brought on. And then just to top things off, on 84, innocuous challenge, John Egan leaving the field of play on a stretcher. Looked a real bad one for Eags. You could tell by the look on his face. I think that's the end of John Egan for Sheffield United this season. By the time this goes out, we may have had a better, more positive analysis, but I somewhat doubt it. The way it's going for us, no Egan, no O'Connell, no Sanderberg. It can this season get any worse? Just about to flick the remote, throw it away, and then West Ham score a third on 94, 95 minutes, something like that. Might have been even later. Last kick of the game. Didn't deserve to lose 3-0, but we lost 3-0. Deserved to lose, yes. Failed to score for the 12th time in the Premier League this season. Hello, Championship. Only one thing to play for, that's the FA Cup. And to top it all off, we drew Chelsea away. Oh, what a season. When will it end?
Right, my first fans react to West Ham United. In terms of Ramsdale playing, I've not been his biggest fan this season. I think he's let us down a few times, but certainly today not. He's played well. I think for the penalty that wasn't, he pushed the ball away, which is nice to see. It's something he struggled with, certainly this season. I didn't really watch him so much for Bournemouth last. No, he's not going to save the penalty. So this is a decent struck penalty from Rice. He's not going to save that, so we can't put that on him. I thought he swept up well through the game. I thought he did well, came out, tried to negate some of that pace that they had with Lingard. So did well there. Did an excellent save on 73 minutes. Kind of ball went through and got a good, nice, strong wrist to it, kind of putting it out for a corner. I've given him 7.5. Bogle's a bit strange. It seemed to be a ghost in the first half. It's like he wasn't playing sometimes. We didn't really see much of him. I don't know if that was a plan from Wilder, trying to predominantly attack down the left-hand side, but we didn't really see much of him. Certainly in the second half, he came into the game a bit more, put in a few decent tackles. I tried to advance the ball down the right, but didn't get much joy out of that. I've given him a 6. Then we've got Bash. Bash is usually quite an easy one to do. He's a consistent 6 or 7 most weeks. He struggled a bit today. Obviously, Norwood played the ball into him, which was suicidal. Led to him having to make a silly challenge, it has to be said, to give away the penalty. Tried to claim that he clipped the ball a little bit, but obviously not. And I think he found himself quite lucky to be on the pitch. Tried to redeem himself in the second half. Probably a case of him trying too hard. I've given him 5.5. Then we've got Egan. Usual Egan performance, really. He kind of didn't pull up any trees, but nice and solid at the back, as we usually come to expect from him. And then obviously the nightmare that is on 85 minutes going off injured. Looks like a broken foot, broken ankle, something like that. Probably going to be the last time we see him for at least 6 weeks. Maybe that's his season done. If that's the case, I can see us really struggling without him. Ampadu, I've given him a rating of 6.5. I thought he played well. He kept the ball well. He was trying to play the ball. He does tend to try and pass backwards quite a lot, which can be frustrating when you're watching it. But I suppose that's a lack of options going forward, really. If he hasn't got them options, then he's going to be playing it backwards and trying to keep hold of the ball. He did lose Diop for the second goal for West Ham. He's a big man to be marking, Diop. And they're a big team, West Ham, so I know we have got Egan on Souček and players like that, but I feel he has to try and do better and kind of get himself in between Diop and the goal to cause him some problems. Stevens, he's not been the same for me since he signed his new contract. Going forward, last year he was completely different. He always looked a threat. We always know what was going to come. Going through this game, and we haven't got much. We've got no quality in crosses. The amount of times that we were saying, "Oh, it's not beat the first man," it was crazy. I've given him a rating of 5. Osborne obviously coming into the team for Fleck, who's got some kind of illness. We got what we expect from Osborne. He was running himself into the ground, put everything in for the team. The quality going forward, he struggles getting the crosses in. Again, first man, we're getting the point where it's hitting that first man every time. He did get a good cross in for Didz's chance on 68 minutes. I've given him a 6. Again, don't think he's pulled up any trees, but he certainly didn't let us down. Oliver Norwood, it was so strange because he started well. The first 10 minutes, I thought this could be all right. This could be the Norwood we need. And then he just fell off a cliff. I don't know what happened to him. But giving the ball away, trying these passes that are just not coming off for him at the minute. If it's not coming off for you, you need to play it simple. Ampadu does this. He gives the ball away, 39 minutes. Suicide ball to Basham. Basham's got no chance. Then he's trying to chase back and he's just not got the legs for it. He's not got the legs to get back in. Should have been taken off at half time. Wasn't. We was left him on for a few minutes and eventually taken on 52nd minute, I believe. I think he needs a rest from the team. I think when Fleck's back, let's drop Fleck in there. Give Norwood a chance to rest and reevaluate how he's playing because it's not working at the moment. I've given him a 4.5. Lundstrom, certainly the first half looked a lot better for Lundstrom than it did in the second. The second half, he just seemed to be wandering around as if he didn't want to fight for the ball. It's as if he's gone already. As he doesn't want to fight for the team and kind of put in the performances that he did last season. I think it's certainly partial fault for the third goal, not closing down along with Jags, who we'll get on to. But I've given him a rating of 6. Again, don't think he let us down completely, but he certainly didn't give us a performance that we needed from him. So I've got Billy Sharp up front. It's nice to see that he's got a chance again up front. He certainly deserved his chance from the performances that he's put in lately. The service that he's got is absolutely horrendous. He did what he could with what he had, certainly trying to hold the ball up for us to bring more players in. And they're playing the ball kind of 5, 6, 7 yards in front of him and expecting him to chase it down and beat their centre-backs to it. It's just not going to happen. I've given him a rating of 6.5. I thought he kind of put everything in and created a couple of things for us. And then we've got David McGoldrick, possibly my favourite player at United at the moment. We do love him. Better in the second half. He seemed to be a bit off the pace first half. His touch weren't there, which it's usually a given for him. It's kind of what we come to expect for United, and we'll probably hold him to a higher standard this season, certainly than other players in the squad. He's had a couple of chances with his head. Fabianski made a couple of good saves. Saves that you'd expect the keeper to be making. The first one certainly made much harder by the deflection off the young left wing back for West Ham. I've given him a 6. I think he's done the job. I'm surprised that he didn't drop back into that attacking midfield role when they took Norwood off and brought McBurney on. I thought we'd have got a lot more from him there. Then we move on to the subs. So we got McBurney coming on the 62nd minute it was for Norwood. I'm surprised it took that long. I've got no idea why it took that long. And then obviously they tried something new. They tried to do something different. Playing him in the kind of I wouldn't even say an attacking midfield role. It would seem deeper than that. And it just wasn't working. Ball into feet, trying to play passes into Sharp, kind of overcooking them, giving him no chance to do so. He did have one chance himself, generated good power on the header, and Fabianski pulled off a really decent save for that. I've given him an overall a 6. It's not really much to talk about with McBurney. Jagielka obviously coming on in the 85th minute when Egan went off injured. He fought for a couple of things, ball went through, and he's kind of fighting to the end. And then it's just disappointing to see for their third goal. Standing off Fredericks like that. You can't afford to do it. It's in the box, close him down, give Ramos a chance in the net. Stood off. I've given him a rating of 5.5.
Oh, I love doing positives and negatives on the back of a 3-0 defeat against West Ham, let me tell you. So let's get one of the few positives out of the way, and we haven't really been able to say that much this year at all. And that's Aaron Ramsdale. I thought he had a solid, pretty assured performance today. I don't think he made any world-beating saves, but a performance like that should, on a good day, raise your confidence level. But I don't think anybody can take confidence out of this performance. Only other positive I'll give you is that I thought we played in the middle of the park better than the beginning of the season. I thought we played confidently, assuredly. I thought we knew our positions. I thought people like Osborne and Basham making those late runs into the box. Basham, being his overlapping center back self, I thought it looked good until the first goal. And let's just kick on with the negatives then. I've got a soft spot for all these players. Where we were 4 years ago versus where we are today is night and day. But Ollie Norwood, again. And, you could maybe blame Basham for the rash tackle in the box, but what is Ollie Norwood doing? Hitting a half-hearted, no-look pass to nobody. And what do you know? West Ham, Premier League team, more pace than us, more talent, more skill than us in the box. Penalty. Ramsdale, not much of a dive, but you really just can't blame keepers in penalty situations. So that's that. And just like that, 1-0 down at halftime. And then it gets worse. No subs at halftime, which I thought was strange. I put that in the negative column. I would have expected Norwood to have been hauled off and replaced with a more attacking option, but instead we stayed the course. And then another negative is that set-piece defending. Again, Ampadu, who's come on leaps and bounds in that Jack O'Connell role, loses his man, far post header, and it's 2-0 and the game's over. And really, let's be honest, the season's over at that point as well. But it can get worse, and it did. John Egan, looking like a bad one, looking like a broken ankle, a broken lower leg, some type of fracture. And then you think about all the other injuries and our lack of depth, and it just makes her really, really ugly end to this season, I think, as it starts to slip now. We allow West Ham a third, but who really cares at that point? I just thought it was strange. I thought no Brewster, no Burke. At the start of the game was strange. I thought at 1-0 it was strange. I thought at 2-0 it was strange not to bring him in, but maybe we're just pinning our hopes now on keeping everybody healthy and making a cup run. But that game is not for God knows how long anyway. So I can't figure out why they didn't make an appearance today. So just really, I'm I think fourth in this video, so I'm going to be just another one on the list of despondent Blades fans talking to you right now. But there's just not a lot of positives to pick out from this, and I really do worry now that the door is definitely slammed shut. I'm confident of that based on our performance today and the results around us. But what worries me is what we do for these last 14 games, because that really is going to tell a story of how we do in the championship if Wilder stays or goes. But if you're the Prince, you need to start planning and get with your recruiters and figure out who's staying and going for the championship. Because now we've got lead time, so take advantage of it. So another disappointing Premier League day out for the Blades. And I'll let Robert figure out where we go from here. Cheers, Blades.
Well, that game went from bad to worse real quick with Egan's injury. And my section of where do we go from here went from let's try to be positive. Let's try to, keep this press on. I think we can still mathematically avoid relegation to, let's try to consolidate our losses, get one more point from Fulham, and enjoy the championship next year. Because honestly, that's where we're at. Too many silly mistakes. Norwood, the number one culprit again. I don't know if it's a tactical change from Wilder where we don't put somebody on the back post, but that has now cost us several goals recently in at least from my memory. We'll have to ask Adam for the actual stats on that, but we used to put somebody back there. I don't know what happened. I have distinct memories of Sander Berge sitting on the back post during corners and defending. Like, we don't do that. So we know we're going to concede headers. Why don't we put somebody back there? There's got to be a reason. I am not in Chris Wilder's head, so I don't know what that reason is. But for me, that's an easy answer to fix that problem. There's not much to say. Going forward, we've got Fulham next. It's a game we should be winning. But as we've seen this season, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be a draw. But at least with a draw, we avoid the are we worse than Derby County or are we as bad as Derby County conversations. We at least get 12 points and can move on from that discussion point. So for me, that's the goal. Next goal, get at least a point from Fulham and then, whatever we have to do the rest of the season to not utterly embarrass ourselves, try to nick a point here or there. But I don't think avoiding relegation's in the cards anymore. I just hope that Wilder and the board can see eye to eye for next season when we're in the championship on which players we can afford to keep and, have to take pay cuts where we can. I hope a lot of the lads stick with it because this is a good team. This is not a team that can consistently finish in the top half, but this is not a team that should be bottom of the table. We are a 16th to 14th place team, in my opinion, and we just haven't had luck on our side like we had luck on our side last year. So, there's work to be done still. There's a glimmer of hope somewhere, but my normal cheery self is not feeling quite that way now. So let's hang on. Let's get a result from Fulham, and then we'll move on and enjoy the championship. So cheers.